Welcome back, everyone, to 31 Days of Halloween on the Calvin Cam Podcast, the podcast where we talk about everything spooky and chilling. I'm Calvin.
And I'm Anthony. And today we have the Jordan Peele Collection. So let's get into it.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. Here we go. We're talking about Jordan Peele.
Yeah, we have his collection to go over today on this episode. So you want to start us off with the first film we want to discuss?
Yeah, we're going to go over Get Out first. Now, just a little bit of background on Jordan Peele. He is not only one of my newest favorite directors of all time, he is just a very, very talented man. He started his career off with comedy.
Yeah, with Keen and Peele?
Yeah, well, he actually started off on Mad TV.
Okay. I thought it was Keen and Peele. So.
Yeah, Mad TV, and then later on into Comedy Central, and we all know him as, Jordan Peele from Key and Peele.
Yeah, the most iconic one for me was Aaron. Hey, Aaron.
Aaron. Yeah. Oh man, so many great skits.
Yeah, he has the Hogwarts one that's pretty funny too.
Yeah, there's he's got a ton of skits that are funny, and those are very much well worth checking out. But then all of a sudden he honed in on his skills and came out with a wonderful movie.
Yeah, he's a film director with his wonderful skills, huh?
Yeah. So Get Out is the first movie that he made. It came out in 2017, and it has been nominated for tons of awards that year. But it's so impressive to see somebody who goes from a genre such as like skit comedy to like being one of the greatest modern horror directors.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's really good. So Get Out was an incredible movie. It's about basically a guy and his girlfriend going to his the in-laws' house and basically discovering that not everything is as it seems. It's a very white community, and and there are African American servants, and it's very like suspicious. So.
Yeah, and not to mention the way the house looks basically where they filmed it kind of looks like a plantation house.
Oh yeah, I think it kind of like hints at that it's like a generational thing. Like this has been going on forever, and then they kind of like honed in on exactly what they're trying to do because they stem from a long line of doctors. Neurosurgeons specifically. So
yeah, the father's a neurosurgeon, and her mother is she's a psychiatrist.
Yeah, she's like a psychiatrist, like hypnotist.
Okay.
So yeah, so Daniel Kaluuya, he plays the main guy, and he is basically just like, I don't want to be here. Do they know that I'm black? They don't know that I'm black. I am scared for my life.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like just cultural references with this film.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the point. Is just like, black people have been very like
oppressed.
Yeah. So like showing that like, hey, I know that you're cool, but I know that your parents live in a very white place, and I don't know if they know that I'm black. And you might want to mention that to them because, people feel weird about different things. And as we know, obviously these kinds of things still go on in today's world.
Yeah.
So clearly he's concerned for, what I think is logical reasons. And, basically, what happens is they get there, they stay there a few days, the story unfolds, we find out this crazy twist that basically they're abducting black people and
making them their personal slaves.
Making them not only their personal slaves, but turning them into, auctioning them off and doing a brain transplant.
Yes. I noticed that with the bingo cards.
Yeah.
Was that like the whole auction sale?
Yeah, that was
sequence?
the auctions. Because like the whole scene where he's being introduced to all of these people is just so that they can like get a feel of like what
they're buying.
Yeah, what they're buying. So it's just like, oh, this is like really unsettling.
Very unsettling.
And so obviously the blind guy, he is a famous artist, like photographer, and he's like has that connection with Daniel Kaluuya's character, and is like, obviously I'm gonna bid for this guy, and that way I can be in the mind of a photographer and basically he'll take control if the transplant works.
Yeah,
So,
quote unquote, when he was watching a synopsis, when he had him on there,
yeah.
when he was in the operating room, he has an old TV and he's strapped to a chair. He's like, I want your eyes, man.
I want your eyes. And then, Daniel Kaluuya just being like stuck in the sunken place. Really cool visuals. Really, really cool. And
we've got our chilling and suspenseful moments with Georgina. Like Georgina on and off camera. Like that was awesome the way Jordan Peele did those shots with her, kind of made it a little bit suspenseful.
Mm-hmm.
Even with what is it, the groundskeeper? I can't remember his name.
Walter? I think it's Walter. I think it's something with a W. I forgot. But yeah, even him too. Like all the interactions with him are very like eerie.
And David, what is his name? David Kaluuya.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
And Daniel Kaluuya, his interactions with Georgina and Walter, like you can tell that he's like, yeah, something's up here. Something's not right.
Yeah, they're not acting normal. What ends up happening is you find out that Georgina is actually Kate, I think is the girlfriend's name. Kate's grandmother is Georgina, and then her grandfather is
Walter.
Yep. So it's crazy. One of my favorite parts of this film is his best friend, the TSA guy.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
It's so funny. Like he's amazing, and he's just like the whole time just being the best friend on the phone. I'm like that with my friends, like constantly calling them up and just being like, no, fuck that, man. Like that shit is whack. Get that fuck out of there.
Yeah. So he was bringing a comedic aspect to the film, even though the film was more,
it's psychological
horror. Yeah. So he brought a different element to it. You know what I mean? Kind of like the comedic thing was a cool, like, I guess I'd say a switch.
No, and it's really good because like Jordan Peele, his directing, like it's nice to see the comedy brought in, because comedy is such a like natural emotion. Like when you're in a situation, I mean, I try to make comedy wherever or whatever I'm in, like whatever I'm doing. Like I always try to implement comedy because it helps me feel more comfortable in situations. So I like that Jordan Peele has that kind of idea to incorporate such comedy into all of his movies. So, but yeah, like Get Out was amazing. And then in 2019, he came out with his second movie, which is Us, which is a different concept, really awesome, really cool, and it's a whole interesting story between the duality of people. Yep. So,
and there's a bunch of just coincidences within the film that you see. You'll see these coincidences with the 11:11 and the guy holding the sign and at Santa Cruz at the park.
Yeah, there's like a couple of people like doing rock paper scissors, which is like representing like, oh, these weird coincidences are happening. And then also like when they're at the beach and a frisbee lands perfectly on the circle of the beach towel. So these weird coincidences and the duality of things, like she is wearing a Thriller
Michael Jackson Thriller
shirt, and like that's a perfect example because in Thriller he's two different people, kind of. Yep. Like, so it's really interesting, really cool. Us is about basically this. What I got from it is this underground experiment gone wrong, basically, with.
Yeah, in the opening sequence, you have the music, and you have it shows the camera pans out and shows like all these caged lab rats.
Yeah.
Or lab rabbits, I should say.
Yeah, lab rabbit.
Not, yeah, lab rabbits.
So you get to see all of these rabbits, and I feel like that kind of like hints at that some kind of weird experiment went down, and now there is these people called the Tethered, and they are basically just a reflection of ourselves, just in a different world, basically.
Yeah, it's crazy how they linked it to a music, the amusement park, like a theme, like a little room, like a scary room. It was a mirrors, but yeah, that was kind of cool how they tied that into that little facility.
And of course, the movie has such a fantastic twist at the end, which is really great. We find out through all that happens in the film with them battling themselves throughout the movie. We find out that you have Addie, who originally her Tethered, which is, I think the name for the Tethered is Red. They swapped places when they were like 10 years old, basically.
Yeah, in the beginning of the film, you see that when her parents take her to the amusement park, and her father is at one of the carnival games and wins her the Thriller shirt, and then she wanders off and goes into the mirror room, and then she's taken when she sees her mirror image.
Yep. And so at the very end, you discover exactly like what happened in that sequence, and it was that basically the Tethered girl Red, she swapped places. She pulled her back, she handcuffed her to a bed, and then she took her place in the real world. And you kind of like knowing that, you get to go back and watch the movie. You can see like all of these little details, like early on when they're talking about like, oh, it was traumatizing to her. I just want my daughter back. When you're talking about Addie's mom. And she's in the room of the like therapist. She's lining up all of the animals like hand in hand.
Yep.
So it's like, that there's some interesting coincidences.
Yeah, there's a bunch of coincidences. That's why you have to actually pay attention when watching this movie, so you can connect the dots.
Every time I watch it, I find something new, and I'm just like, wow. Again, Jordan Peele, you're incredible.
Yeah, I love how he references like a whole bunch of 80s culture in the beginning.
Oh,
like, when they're watching TV, I see all the video cassettes on the side. I see Chud, and I see The Right Stuff, which back in the 80s, those were like big hits, especially The Right Stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he does such a good job at like blending in also like just time periods.
Yeah.
And I really like that with him. Another great aspect of this film is the score is crazy. The score is wonderful.
Amazing.
And then you get the alternative like I Got 5 on it song.
Yeah, you have
for the final confrontation.
Yeah, and it's like it's just so good. It's so brilliant. Like they took the Looney song and made it like just an instrumental like masterpiece.
One of the parts that I absolutely love in this movie is when the other family on the lake is getting killed, and she's like, the Beach Boys is playing, and she's like, Ophelia.
Yeah, instead of Alexa, it's Ophelia, right?
Yeah, I think it's Ophelia, turn off or call the police, and then it plays NWA's Fuck the Police.
Yeah, as they're going through trying to find the taken doppelgangers, and they, their kids have like, what does the daughter have? I think the daughter's name is Zora after your.
Yeah, it is Zora.
So she has a golf club. I think it's a putter, and she's like,
oh yeah, she whacks the shit out of the other girl.
Yeah, she just goes crazy on them.
I love it. Yeah, really. I mean, like, I also love that fact when the family is fighting this alternate family. It's so kind of like comedic in its own right. Like the dad is hilarious throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, he is funny.
He's just a really funny guy. He's just like, especially like the first encounter with them, he's just like has the bat and he goes outside. He's just like, yo, you all get crazy? We gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, nope. Okay, call the police. And then he's just a funny guy. He's got like good dad humor. Winston Duke was the actor's name.
Okay.
And there's just so much about Us that I love so much. Like I feel like a lot of people rate this as his lowest movie out of all the three.
Yeah.
But I love this movie so hard. So it's so hard for me to like even rate the three of the movies, honestly, for me, because they each are so different and they're all horror, but they all are different horror. And so they just kind of like for me, they're all equal.
Yeah.
So, and then in 2022, he came out with Nope.
Yep. Nope was a really good movie. I just recently watched it, and it was phenomenal.
Nope is so incredibly cool and such a cool visual spectacle. As a lot of people say it, I know a lot of people say that, but like it's really true. Like Nope is spectacular, and it's really well directed. One of the cool camera things that is done in Nope is that the nighttime scenes were all shot during the day. So every nighttime scene was shot during the day is really beautiful, like really great color correction.
Yeah, they did. I didn't know that. I must
go into this movie as anyone else expecting a, UFO movie and finding out that this is like indeed like it is a movie it's not a UFO. It's an actual organism.
Yeah.
That has been eating horses.
Yeah, it also, after it consumes something, it obviously can't digest metal, so therefore it shoots metal particles out of its stomach, or when it takes a poop or whatever, I guess you could say.
It takes a poop.
When it takes a poop, it shoots metal,
shoots quarters,
shoots quarters, keys, everything, and therefore that became the demise of Keith David, that plays like the main. He's basically Haywood's Hollywood Horses.
Yep.
And he takes a nickel to the head and dies in the beginning, based on the monster.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Like Keith David's such a great actor. It was great to see him in a more in a modern horror movie. Like,
yeah,
I feel like I haven't seen him in in much modern horror.
Yeah, he's been in all the Carpenter stuff. Like I said, he was in The Thing, the other episode we talked about a couple of days ago, episode 2. He's also in he's also in They Live. So him and Carpenter have been together, and he's done lots of horror movies early in his career.
Yeah. Yeah, so and he's done just a lot of like great video game work too. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Yeah, Keith David, great. Daniel Kaluuya was brought back as the main character in this movie. Obviously, he's a different character, but yes, he's the main character. And we had Keke Palmer, who is awesome. She did a fantastic job as his sister, and she was very comedic. And also the guy who played the electronic,
the guy from Fries.
The guy from Fries. So he was a good comedic aspect of the movie as well.
We also had Stephen Yeun as Jupe.
Yep, Stephen Yeun as Jupe, and he did such a great job in everything that he's in.
Yeah,
like,
he's just a great actor. Ever since The Walking Dead, he's just like he's been awesome.
And his whole bit with the background story or the offshoot story in this movie is Gordy, the monkey. Basically, it's based off of a real life story of this monkey. I think it was Travis the chimp. I think that's what the name was. Basically, just indicating like wild animals cannot necessarily be tamed completely. And we get hints of that like throughout the whole movie. There's a part where Keith David even mentions that in a flashback. He's like, oh, look at Ghost out there acting all territorial. Like he some animals I guess you just can't tame.
Yeah, I remember that was a flashback that occurred in the middle of the film. So there's like the little Easter eggs that you know kind of pave the way for it.
And I think that the whole storyline of Gordy is just to show that exactly, and also to show that at the same time of such tragic events, it's also like a miracle. So like that's why the shoe was such an interesting focus in this movie, because Stephen Young used the shoe, this miracle that the shoe landed perfectly, as a kind of like a mental escape from the situation
Yeah.
happening. So really cool. And I mean, it's such a it's such a brilliant movie. I went down and I watched this movie. It was my second time ever seeing an IMAX movie. And I absolutely was blown away by this movie.
Didn't you see this with James and Anthony, Raiders of the Lost podcast?
I did see this with a shout out, boys. It was a great time. We saw it with a bunch of their fans, and it was really good stuff. And so Jordan Peele is just a master of the work. I think there's hints of him making a Get Out 2. I don't know how I feel about sequels still. Like, I mean, some sequels are great, some sequels are bad. I kind of like more independent projects.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it's just a new movie. And it's supposed to come out next Christmas. That's the date. We know that he is working on a movie. We just don't know what it is. And hopefully it's great.
Yeah. More things about Nope. Nope is just, I like how he basically, he kind of hints to, just different chapters in the movie. I kind of get that feel like he went with like Quentin's look. Like he does chapters of stories, for certain things like Hateful Eight, Pulp Fiction, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Where he has those segments. I thought that was really, really cool. By saying the each horse or each moment in the movie, like Gordy's story with Stephen Young when he was young and all that. So I thought that was really interesting and cool the way he showed that as well.
I think that's really unique too, because it like delivers, like Quentin, it delivers like a different kind of pacing.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It kind of like really keeps you invested in the storytelling that's happening. So yeah, I completely agree. So what would you rate this? What would you rate?
Are we going to go from the top, or are we going to say the trilogy overall?
Let's just say, what would you rate each movie? Yeah, from the top.
From the top. So we're starting with Get Out.
Yeah.
Get Out 5 out of 5.
Get Out 5 out of 5.
For this being Jordan Peele's breakout movie, in terms of showing us, he's switching from comedy to horror. Like, this movie had awesome pacing. I mean, the twists, the suspense, just the writing overall, how he did a really good job with the directing. I'm sure the actors in the movie, because the actors are all amazing in this movie. So that would be the reasons why I would give it 5 out of 5.
Nice. Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I 100% agree. I would easily give it a 5 out of 5.
And why would you give it a 5 out of 5?
Well, I just think that, for one, the cinematography is incredible. I think that the pacing is also incredible. He does such a great job with the storytelling that it keeps you very like invested, especially because it's also kind of like a real, not only to be like speaking on behalf of being black, I just feel like that's a real fear and occurrence. And also I just think that the movie, the performances are all incredible. Delivering on the fact of the uncomfortability of like the situation. So I think that definitely binds it together even more so. And even the music is really, really,
it hits home when it needs to be.
Yeah. So I think that this movie is a perfect blend of horror and comedy. It's not even too long. It's just under 2 hours. Like I or is it under 2 hours?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think it's like a little bit under 2 hours, and I think it's just a solid ass movie.
Yeah, for his first movie, it's it's solid for sure.
I mean, it won, Academy Award nominations. So yeah.
Going into Us, what would you rate Us?
If I were to rate Us, it's so tough, dude. I love Us, so I would also rate it a 5 out of 5. I
Okay.
think that it is just really unique. It's a brand new story. I haven't really seen anything like it before. And I don't think Hollywood does enough unique stories like this. So I think that based off of the fact of like how unique it is, definitely sends it and elevates it. For me, the score is also incredible. Got 5 on it stuck in my head like since the movie came out, pretty much. So and especially just like the slow tone remix of it is really good too. And also just like the fact that every time you watch the movie, there are new things to find out.
Yeah.
There are new things to point out. There are new things that you catch, and I really enjoy that. Also, the performances are great, but especially the main character, Addie. She's like, I just thought her performance was just incredible. So I love this movie a lot. What would you give it?
I have to say 5 out of 5. I really like this movie. It basically, I agree with most of the stuff you said. I'll just reiterate it. The score is brilliant. Readapting those songs from hip hop songs to instrumental score to make it more theatrical when that final scene, that confrontation with Addie and the doppelganger, that is absolutely brilliant. The pacing is good in this movie. The storytelling is basically a twist, so it's like basically him just going to another level from Get Out. So those reasons why I'd say it's a 5 out of 5 so far for me. I mean, it was a great and excellent movie. There's nothing really I can say that was really bad about it. He also Jordan Peele actually got like a signature from Get Out. I mean, when he has his opening credits, he has a hand with a teacup now. So
Yeah, Monkey Paw Productions.
yeah, Monkey Paw Productions
is his production company.
Yeah,
so.
that is a cool throwback to his first film, which is really cool. So yeah, that's what I would rate Us, 5 out of 5.
All right. What about Nope?
What about Nope? It's just so hard. All of these movies that he just did a fabulous job. I can't like not dock them stars.
Yeah, none of them are better than the other.
Yeah.
Like,
once again, the storytelling, the pacing, the way the pacing is with the chapters. Like I said, the inspiration from Quentin on that. What else? The music hits home when it needs to be. I thought the cinematography in this film was really good. It's just a phenomenal film. I there's nothing else I can really say bad about this film.
all right. Well, I'd give it a 5 out of 5. So
Why would you give it a 5 out of 5?
I just think that, like everyone else is saying, and I'm not trying to ride the train, but it's so much like Jaws, which is already a 5 out of 5 movie. That it's the modern Jaws, it's the modern day Jaws.
I agree with you,
and I just think that they check every box as far as the story goes, and it's so, even the twist is beautiful. Like, I did not expect it to not be a UFO.
Yeah.
So, seeing that it's not and seeing that it is an actual alien is crazy.
Yeah. I thought it was great. Like I said, I definitely agree with you on the terms of the correlation between this movie and Jaws. Is you don't really see the shark in Jaws until they actually fight it at the end in the boat. Like,
yeah, you only see like a fin or a tail or whatever,
and you see these things happening, and then all of a sudden at the end they're battling this alien UFO monster thing, and then you see it all the time, just like you would see the shark come up and try to take the boat down.
Yep. And then I also love just again, Daniel Kaluuya being an amazing actor, and Kiki Palmer also just like outstanding. So again, great choice in cast, great performances, great story, good music, good sound design. Because the alien sound design is really fucking cool. Like when it's like making its noises, like roaring and shit, like it's echoing, or like when it's flying over the house and them, and you hear the people screaming from inside, and it's just like it's just beautiful. I just love it
Yeah.
all. So
It's so good. Even when the monster takes a poop like over the top of the house and you see all the blood and all the
so
debris
cool.
coming out, just the way that's physically shot, like the lighting is perfect and they did a really good job with that shot.
Yeah.
So there's nothing really bad you can say about these Jordan Peele movies. They're like so good.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess moving on, we have some fun facts.
Yep.
So I'm gonna read them off. Starting with Get Out.
Okay.
Get Out. We have the movie was filmed in 23 days.
That is crazy.
That's less than a month, and an average shot time for a movie is 90 days. So that's impressive.
Jordan Peele must have just had everything planned out before he even took this project to even shoot.
Okay, the opening of the film is partially inspired by the opening of Halloween in 1978, which Jordan Peele described as a subversion of the perfect white neighborhood.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I see it.
So, which I thought was hilarious. When writing the screenplay, Jordan Peele took a lot of inspiration and style and tone from British TV series Psychoville, which starred his leading man, Daniel Kaluuya. So it's really awesome. Hold on, Jordan Peele directed scenes in the movie while doing impressions of Tracy Morgan, Forrest Whitaker, and Barack Obama.
That's cool.
I really wish I would have been on set for that. It's really funny. Let's see. Eddie Murphy was originally chosen to play Chris, but Jordan Peele changed his mind after it was decided he was too old for the role.
Maybe in his younger years he would have been awesome, but
this is the 6th horror film nominated for the Academy Award of Best Picture. After The Exorcist, Jaws, Silence of the Lambs, The Sixth Sense, and Black Swan.
Yeah, that's quite the lineup that it goes against there.
Yeah,
that's just awesome.
It's crazy, because horror movies do not win Oscars; they just don't. So the fact that these get nominations are incredible. Director Jordan Peele said after he won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay that he wrote more than 200 drafts for the film before coming up with the script that was used for the final production. So that's cool.
That is really cool.
And then let's see. This film stayed in the U.S. box office top 10 for its first 2 months of release.
Get Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 8 weeks. That's a long time. Keegan Michael Key, Jordan Peele's sidekick and comedy partner, portrayed one of the top NCAA prospects when Rose was researching them online.
Yeah, that scene was so creepy.
It is. It's all right, jumping over to fun facts about us. All right, now for some fun facts about us. Jordan Peele, voice of the Funhouse, was the voice of the Funhouse narrator.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. So that's cool. Let's see. Jordan Peele gave the cast 11-hour films to watch so they would have a shared language when filming Jaws, Dead Again, The Shining, The Babadook. It follows a tale of two sisters, The Birds, Funny Games, Martyrs? Let the Right One In, and The Sixth Sense. The words Get Out, which was the title of Jordan Peele's previous film, can be seen carved into the side of the entrance of the Hall of Mirrors.
Oh, I think I did see that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
This was one that I thought was pretty cool. The Bible verse that continuously appears in the film, Jeremiah 11:11, reads, "Therefore thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them."
Yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
describes the whole movie as a whole. Like that's really cool.
Let's see. The overhead shot of Wilson's driving to the vacation home, along with the synchronized speech and mannerisms of the twins, is a reference to The Shining.
Oh yeah, when they're going to the Overlook Hotel.
Yeah.
It's like the Steadicam.
Let's see. The baseball game is tied at 11:11. 11:11 also appears on the alarm clock.
Yeah. It appears on the guy that's holding the sign out there on the boardwalk.
Mm-hmm. The fast food that the family eats is called Copper Pots, a nod to Chester Copperpot, the legendary treasure hunter in the Goonies. So
that's a cool one.
It's referenced many times in the movie, and it's also referenced in Nope. So,
is it when they're both eating at that place?
Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's see. There is no hidden meaning for Gabe's infatuation with the boat. Jordan Peele simply wanted Gabe to have a boat as a status symbol.
And then he mentions, "I'm never getting him on a boat again."
Never getting a boat. Among Josh Tyler's tattoos is a pair of antlers, one of each arm, a reference to Jordan Peele's previous movie, Get Out.
That's cool. When he kills the father neuroscientist with the antlers.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's it for the fun facts that I grabbed. What about Nope? We got Nope fun facts. Okay, first, Keke Palmer's introductory scene in which Emerald delivers her energetic and fast-talking monologue about her family history during a safety meeting on the set of a film shoot took 14 takes to shoot. Jordan Peele described each one as a very wildly different.
Sounds a lot like someone I know.
All right, for real. Jordan Peele originally wrote the character of Angel Torres as a happy-go-lucky, geek-like character until Brandon Pura was cast as the character, who wanted to expand upon and portray him as more grounded. Let's see. Steven Yeun's character Jupe has a large pair of metal scissors on his desk, which is the same scissors featured in Us.
Seems like Jordan Peele loves to throw the Easter eggs in his movies, which is cool. It's really cool.
Jordan Peele cites King Kong, Jurassic Park, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Signs, and The Wizard of Oz as influences on this film. He considers these films as examples of addiction to spectacle, a major theme in the film.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele said he wrote the script at a time when this is a quote, at a time when we were a little bit worried about the future of cinema. So the first thing I knew is I wanted to create a spectacle. I wanted to create something that the audience would have to come see. Because if you remember, this came out in COVID time.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of spots during the NBA playoffs for this movie, I remember. They even had like Stephen Curry was like in one of the previews for the film.
This is kind of a cool fact. It's the first horror film to be filmed with an IMAX camera.
Oh, really cool.
Gordy is not the first mocap primate portrayed by Terry Notary. He previously portrayed Rocket in the reboot of Planet of the Apes trilogy. So he did the mocap.
Oh, he did the mocap?
Yeah, Terry Notary.
That's cool.
see.
So I was about to say, there was another one that did mocap besides Andy Serkis.
This was also Jordan Peele's first feature to be shot on film.
Cool.
Not digital.
That's cool.
That's pretty awesome. Let's see. Let me grab one more. Okay, and the last one is, hold on, let me say that again. And the last one is the alien's animal form is inspired by sea creatures, jellyfish, octopus, squid, electric eel, and the ghost knife fish, which moves without fins.
That's a really cool.
So
that's a really cool, actually. Good portrayal of an alien creature that basically, and probably how they could do it with. It looks like they had, like, obviously it was probably special effects, but and a lot of other stuff, but just the way it fluttered in the sky, it looked like drapes as it was fluttering in the sky.
It's very interesting.
So it does look like a jellyfish or something, like a sea creature. That
one thing I noticed was when the director who they hire, the famous director who they hire in the movie, when they're talking to him on the phone, he's watching like a jellyfish and like octopus and stuff on the camera, which is interesting. And then the second time we see him, he's watching like a tiger be entangled by a python.
That's right.
So, like,
interesting,
cool.
Like nods to everything else in the film.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for this episode on the Jordan Peele Collection. Thank you so much for watching this. We appreciate you all, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you for watching, everyone, and thank you.
Thank you all so much for watching the Calvin Cam podcast. You can find us on any social media platforms like Instagram or Twitter. Go check our podcast out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music. We also have YouTube channel, the Calvin Cam. Go over there, hit that like and subscribe button, and follow us there. As well as you can now really support us on patreon.com. It's probably the best place to support us. So you can go there, join one of our 3 tiers, and help us get bigger and better. And we will appreciate you every step of the way. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a good night.